It's a snow day, my dudes, and today we're bringing the heat with a very special guest, Jeremy Gerard. We got a special stream for you. We're going to talk all things Mythic. We're going to talk about the role-playing game and Legions Con, of course, and what else? What else we got? The Kickstarter and I don't know, whatever else we got. So put down your snow shovel and come hang out with us for a bit. Machu, cue the intro. I was gonna have to pry that shovel out of my cold dead hands. Anyway, what is up? It's not Wednesday, my dudes. It's a very special episode. Today we're gonna be talking with Jeremy Gerard, who is backstage. But first and foremost, Machu, how are you? You're muted, apparently. Yeah.
I am tired of shoveling.
I mean, same. But
we're supposed to get more snow tomorrow too. Apparently,
more snow tomorrow. 2 feet here in Staten Island, where we are. And I just, you know what it is? The problem is right now, I don't know where the hell to put it. It's that's what's going on.
It's just pile it up. Yeah. So nothing. I mean, it was just starting to melt.
Yeah, it just went away.
And then now, like, I looked outside my window when I woke up, and I just saw like icicles, like really long icicles coming from my roof, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
Well." So it is starting to melt a little bit, but yeah, maybe I should take care of that. The icicles that are like,
you may have to.
They're just dangling, you know.
You may have to. We had a few people stopping by in the chat here. I think more people are starting to trickle in, but we got Manic Mike is here. D Blake Banks is here saying, "Hey fellas." Webhead's here. Sonic Rockman is confused as to why he's here. I think.
I guess.
I don't know, but he wants to know why so early. Well, you know, it's a special one. That's it. So, Rel is here, of course, our neighbor. We'll have an episode tomorrow too, so don't worry. You don't worry. He got us twice this week. What's up, Jevons? Let's see who else we got. Brian is here. RPG kicks off tomorrow. Awesome figures, coins, dice, books. Oh, it's all great. It's all great. Oh, Spooky Zorro is here. Real life perspective. Let's see. You need to catch the old guy from Home Alone. He'll salt the sidewalk for you. So, it's Tuesday, my dudes. It's Tuesday. Tuesday Spawnies. Let's go with that. So, yeah. Anyway, that's more than enough filler. I think we should just bring in Jeremy. And by the way, we have no right to complain about shoveling, because Jeremy just said the snow was over 3 feet by him, which is crazy. So let's bring him in. Let's bring him in from outside and make sure he stays warm. 3 feet, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's so growing up, there was like this kind of like urban legend lore of the blizzard of 78 here in New England and Rhode Island, and we broke the snowfall amounts from the blizzard of 78 yesterday.
Oh wow.
And there was still a ton of snow on the ground. Like,
yeah.
You know, we still had a lot of snow from the last handful of storms we've gotten. So like you said, I do not know where to put it at this point. It's we haven't had a bad winter in like a decade, but we're making up for it this year. It looks like.
We are. I was outside shoveling yesterday and I kept saying to myself, we don't have earthquakes, we don't have fires, we don't have snakes, we don't have alligators. Like, casually reminding myself. But anyway, dude, thank you so much for being here. I know that we've been going back and forth a little bit since last Legions Con, and it's so good to finally get you on the show. And it's a good week to have you because you got a lot going on too, man. You know,
dude, it has been a race to the starting line, not even to the finish line yet. A race to the starting line for this Kickstarter. It's you know, we got a pretty well-oiled machine when it comes to pre-orders these days, but Kickstarter is like a whole different level of headaches and complications and preparation that you've got to get ready for. At the same time, we're also launching a product that we've never done before with the role-playing game and all these gameplay elements, you know, talking to a whole new community, a whole new crowd, customer base. So there's a lot that's been going on as we get ready for the launch of the Kickstarter tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, though, you guys are primed though for this role-playing game, right? Because you're no stranger to storytelling and world building. I mean, it's not like, every character comes out and it's just like, hey, here's a knight. Every character's got a faction and a backstory. So how did that translate when you were starting to put together the role-playing game?
Well, it's funny you say that, because actually both extremes, I think, really work well here. So while we do have a lore and story and narrative for all of our characters in our world, from the earliest days of the line, the fact that there wasn't an entertainment property behind this, there's no comic, there's no movie, there's no cartoon, it kind of allowed people to make their own stories. And the pop and swap aspect of our figures really allowed people to say, like, hey, I'm going to make my own character with these parts. So, that is prime for a role-playing game. That's what you do. You create your character and you create their story and their look and their, the weapons they carry and all that. So from the earliest days of the line, people were like, oh my goodness, I use these characters for my Dungeons and Dragons character, for my game and stuff. So we knew that there was a desire to have a role-playing game that used these characters. So that kind of open world, make it your own aspect of our toys lends itself really well to the game and to the specific products we're doing for this. At the same time, we do have lore, we do have story. So this is adding to that. One of the things Eric Treadaway, really, who created all of this, him and myself, we work on all the stories and the lore, but there's a lot of stuff that we've never had to answer. Questions like, what's the monetary units in the realm of Mythos? What are the days of the week? What are the holidays that people celebrate in Mythos? Like, things that have never come into play that make sense. You need to know how time works in a role-playing game. We've never addressed that. So all of those aspects, I think, are going to add to the lore that we've already established. At the same time, we're making sure that all of the stories, all of the adventures that are going to be part of this game work side by side with the bigger picture narrative that we're telling.
Okay. What was one of the, so when you're talking about that in terms of kind of just developing everything, like even something as simple as like, the coin, right? Or money. What was the thing that struck you the most in terms of like, hey, I didn't think about that, right? Like, what was it? Was it money? Was it holidays? Was it, hey, time. How do these dudes use the bathroom? You know what I mean? Like things like.
It was time. It was our resident game master, Cameron, who really spearheaded the creation of, the player aspects of the game, the actual gameplay mechanics. That was Cameron. And, very early on, he said, how does time work in Mythos? And, what are the days of the week? How many hours in a day? What are the months of the year? Like, what are the seasons? Like, all of those questions where we're like, wow, never once in all of the stories have I thought about anything but day and night.
Right.
Like that, at that really surface level of day and night, that's really all we've thought about. Because, I mean, hey, we have vampires. But thinking about the months of the year, so creating an actual calendar that works for Mythos, that was for me, and that was an early on. Like, we talked about this very early on in the development of the game. That was really the thing that made me say, like, oh, wow, this is going to add a lot of richness to the world building aspect of the realm of Mythos.
So I want to touch more on time because I'm curious to see whether, we're going to talk about a 24-hour day or how that works. But Johnny actually answered the question about how everyone uses the bathroom. It's obviously the three shells. So
the three seashells?
The three seashells. It's obviously that. So
I just watched Demolition Man.
Did you really?
Yeah. I saw it was on YouTube for free.
Yeah. We got a couple of people here checking in. We got Amateur Hours here. We got Needles. What's going on, Needles? Good to see you. And Cullen. We got a lot of new people. So, I'm gonna take a page here from Webhead to say, please smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Ooh. Thanks for watching and supporting. Appreciate you, Webhead, for always doing that. Always a good dude in the toy community. And we got Tenny who we like to say whenever, so Machu, huge in the toy photography world, but when we go to Legions Con,
My
Machu
sister.
becomes Tenny's brother. Like that's it, because Tenny is bigger in the cabal, he's bigger in the realm. It's just how that works. So
Awesome.
yeah. Oh, and we got toy culprits as well. But yeah, so when you're developing time, and like you said, you're only thinking about things as night and day, but obviously there's more to that. Is it, are you thinking 24 hours? Are you thinking, longer than that? Where did you net out?
So it was trying to create something that's totally foreign to what we already know. We decided was going to be like a hurdle that you have to get over. And there's already so many things that you have to get over, learning how to use magic and everything in our world, trying to figure out something other than a 24-hour day, 12 months of the year. I think we actually have 13 months of the year.
Okay.
Which I frankly wish we had 13 months of the year, because it's tough to cram in all the releases that we have in 12. But that was the thought. Again, this was something that, Cameron came up with. He suggested where we go with those, the elements of time, the units of time, but basing it on what we already know as the hours and the days and the seasons. That's where we started with that. And this, like so much we did in the game, start with something that feels familiar and then make it mythic. Like, okay, how do we twist this a little bit to make sure that it has the feel that we want for Mythic Legions?
Got it. Cool. And I love kind of taking that into the money aspect. And you guys showed this off on the stream. The money thing is something I'm fascinated with, especially like when you get into, like Star Wars, right? And you think about credits and how you translate credits. And you guys showed this off, and I'll share the live stream from last night. And if you guys haven't seen it, go check that out. Obviously going to go way more in depth, but these look fantastic, man. And these look like they really do obviously fit into the realm, but also something that wouldn't be outside of something that we would use, right? So
no, and this is an example of make it mythic.
Yeah.
So our game it was created on something called the Open Game License. It was written with the Open Game License. So for anyone that doesn't know what that is, the world's most well-known and popular role-playing game, they allow their game mechanics to be used by other developers. There are certain things you can use, certain things you can't. But the advantage of building it on the that platform, which it's compatible with the 5th edition of that game. Okay. It's something that most players that are versed in role-playing games already know how to play. And they've already tested this to the point where people that are new to role-playing games, they know this is going to be easy for it to learn. So we started with that platform and then made it mythic. So part of that platform is monetary units: platinum, gold, silver, bronze, copper. Those are already in the game. You get a bag of gold or a bag of silver. So we started with just using those units, and then we said, well, how do we make it mythic? Okay, let's tie different monetary values. Instead of just making it these precious metals, let's tie it into these different kingdoms or these different factions and everything, and then write some story around it. At the end of the day, the concept of a gold coin, a silver coin, and a copper coin, that's not something that's hard to get your head around. But by making it a golden lion from Leandor, the silver eagle from Etheros, and so forth, it makes it mythic.
Right. Yeah. And even like you're saying, tying them back to the design looks great here. And this, like even the stag and just how much that sticks out. And, the lion too, the detail on the lion. And then somebody I think wrote in the comments too that it's $25, and we'll get into obviously the pricing and things on the Kickstarter, but you're getting a set of 85 coins. That's pretty good.
Yeah. We at first when we first pitched this, I thought it was going to be 5 coins. I thought you were literally just going to get one of each coin. And then Len, who's our project manager for the role-playing game, and George Gaspar, he's a kind of office manager, project manager as a whole. They were like, no, man, 5 coins is boring. Like, you've got to have a sack of coins. You've got to be able to like plop that down on a table and spread it out and run your hands through it. So this idea of I mean, genuinely, it's kind of like when you start the game, right? When you start the game, you don't start with one of each piece of monetary, coinage. You start with a bag of money. So that's what we wanted this to be.
I'm thinking about when you start with Monopoly, right? Everybody gets handed out the same amount of money.
Same concept.
So we'll see Jessam be making the sack that the coins come in. Is that how that's gonna?
I don't think this one. I think this is one, because one of the things we had to do for this game is go outside of our normal,
of course,
factory. While the factory we work with, I mean, they're a factory. They can produce a lot of different things. They could absolutely produce some of this stuff, but we decided to partner with a factory for the game play materials that specializes in this stuff.
Okay.
Like, this is what they do. They make tabletop role-playing games and books and all that stuff. So they had the ability to do all this. So they have different, leather pouches that we can choose from. Okay. That's one of the great things is we're not like recreating this stuff from scratch. We're working with people that are already like, hey, we've solved all these problems. Here are all the solutions. Which one works best for you?
Yeah. So you're not going in starting something completely new. You're working with something established and kind of picking it up, but then bringing that mythic feel to it, which is great. But it's really interesting to see and smart too, right? Like because by doing that and working on something new, but you're also then going to do the offering of the Mythic Legions figures in the Kickstarter. So again, you're bringing both of these together. Amateur Hour says chest of coins is very appealing. And then Johnny wants to know if people will be using these as currency at Legions Con. So
you never know.
I'm sure something will happen. And then of course, Bachi, you got it ready. Our good friend Rhino sharing his giving us a very generous $2 super hat and asking, is it Mythic time, baby?
We're doing it live.
That's it. Of course, Chubsy Wubsy, a huge fan of the show and a huge supporter of us, and I know that you guys, he's huge with you guys as well. So
love Chubsy
and Rhino. We were over at Chubsy over the weekend, and Rhino brought over his all-in wave.
Yeah,
so we got to play with the bear and a couple of the other figures. It was actually funny. We were just there, and Rhino was like, "You gonna be there for half hour?" I was like, "Yeah, we probably will." And then it's a bunch of 40-year-old men hanging out on a play date, playing with figures. It was great. Yeah, bringing everybody together. So
the bear.
Okay. Machi, you're potatoing a little bit. If you want to, I'm losing you unless it's me. No. Okay. So I'm going to jump back a little bit because I feel like we dove right in, but I mean, and obviously, like it's a very natural fit for the role playing game. But what was like? How did the idea to kind of transition into the role playing game? Like, what was the decision to kind of do something like this?
Well, like I said, since the earliest days of the line, we've had people say, "I wish I could play." With these characters in my role-playing game, or I wish there was a role-playing game for Mythic Legions. I played Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, of course.
And really, that was my introduction to fantasy in a lot of ways. So when I discovered Mythic Legions as a fan, my childhood love of Dungeons and Dragons really influenced how much I loved this toy line. So it felt like it was always a really close connection. It was always kind of there. Yeah. And then just as the company's grown, as we've looked at like, hey, what other things can we do? Like, we want our existing fans to be able to experience our stories in the realm of mythos in new ways. At the same time, we want to introduce what we're doing to other people that they may not be toy collectors, but they love fantasy. We think they love what we're doing, but they're right outside of where we're kind of running. So that was the thought here is, and then I should also add, having someone like Cameron in-house who's, been such a fan and player and, just he's been around tabletop gaming his entire life and role-playing games. So having someone in-house with that level of expertise, everything just kind of came together to say, like, you know what, let's give this a shot. We've had challenges in the past. We had another Kickstarter for a video game that was not successful. The Kickstarter was successful. The game was not. And we subcontracted that out. Like we licensed Mythic Legions to another development crew for them to build it. And we ultimately were not happy with the way that relationship happened and the end result of it. So for this, we were like, no, we want to keep this in-house. We want to develop it. Even though we worked with outside artists, we worked with outside writers and gameplay experts, the core of this, the team leading this, they're all in-house. And we fully developed this game before the Kickstarter. So this is not like, hey, the Kickstarter is going to help us pay for the development. No, this is just to figure out how many numbers to produce. It is fully developed and ready to go. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, it was always there. The idea to do a role-playing game was always there, and it just everything lined up to make this the right time to kind of go forward with it.
Are you starting to see more people coming over or not yet from like the tabletop gaming community?
Not really yet. I mean, we haven't done like a super big push. We did a show down in Pennsylvania called the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo in January. And there were certainly some people there that were like, oh my goodness, these are awesome. I've never heard of this. But I think that that's going to come, you know, what we're hoping, the reason we're going to Kickstarter is because that is where so many role-playing games find audiences these days.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to use Kickstarter as a funding platform. We could just run this on Four Horsemen, but we're only going to be selling it to the people that already know us. So Kickstarter is great as a marketing tool. Like we are hoping that the Legionnaires hit this campaign, you know, hard and fast and really get that funding up there, because what that's going to do is it's going to cause Kickstarter to take notice and start pushing it. And that's where the discoverability comes into play, where other tabletop gameplay fans are like, oh, what the heck is going on? This is $1 million role game Kickstarter that I've never heard of. Like, what is going on? Something is hot here. I need a piece of it. So hopefully that's going to be a bit of a slow burn as we get introduced into that gaming community.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's great, and I love the slow burn aspect. And you're right, Kickstarter is great for kind of introducing people to a new way, and especially when you're getting the momentum.
Yep.
So, you know, I will say this, and if you are watching now, make sure that you're going in and you're saving, because before the Kickstarter goes live, because I know that does help promote it if you get the interest before ahead of time. Meanwhile, you're at 2,465 followers. You don't need me to tell people to go save it, but I guess every little bit will help. Sure. Brian Carr with a very generous $5 super hat says, how cool is it to get a pouch of coins, molten dice, and amazing figures along with the books and gaming materials? Four Horsemen always delivers great stuff. That is very true. You guys are so good about really packing out, you know, whatever it is that you're selling. And I actually have queued up here, I wanted to bring up the beginner box that you're going to be showcasing on the Kickstarter. And this is a starting point of $45. That's the first offering?
Yeah, so that's one of the pledge levels. You can pledge for this particular item to get started with. You can also add this on to any of your pledges. It's $45 either way. And you know, you can see here, this is a great starting point, whether you're new to role-playing games or whether you know role-playing games, but you just want to get started with this one. This is a great starting point because it's got everything you need to open the box and start playing immediately.
Yeah. So, and then I do love, so this is, if you just want to get into, you know, the role-playing game, and then right off the bat, then next tier, if you're like us and you are a Mythic figure collector, you're offering the exclusive Paladin here for $99, which again feels like, I mean, for what is being offered just in the figure alone, this feels like a steal. I did want to talk about now, initial wave only 750 pieces.
Yep.
So that's 750 pieces for the Paladin, or 750 for the game itself?
For the Paladin. So no, we've updated this. So we made a change to this. We announced it this morning. We made these deluxe heroic Paladin clerics to release this figure at San Diego Comic-Con last year, because that's really where we kind of put our foot on the gas and started promoting this game and this Kickstarter. We made quite a few of these, but to say that the demand has overwhelmed us would be an understatement. So many people have wanted this figure that we underestimated that demand. So these are already produced. We sold a bunch of them at San Diego. We offered them at Intern for a Day for our guests last year. And then we had some available for this particular Kickstarter. We were going to do 750 as a pledge level item with this beginner box. And we also took 750 and added it to like an all-in style add-on tier.
Okay.
The minute that we revealed that, we heard the community say, like, that's not enough. I want access. I want to order more. These are going to sell out too quickly. I mean, we don't want to make things limited for the sake of making them limited. This is just the number that we already have made. Right. So we talked this morning as a management team, and we said, like, hey, let's just do a second run of the figures. By doing a second run of this figure along with all the other, we have to make all the other figures anyway. We can lift all the limits. So now, while this is still available for $99, we've now added an exclusive mini that's the Paladin in those black and gold colors. So that has now been added to this set. The price remains $99, and there's no limit of $750. Additionally, now that add that all-in set, there's no limit on those as well. We even actually lowered the price on it by $20, and we've added this heroic Paladin as an add-on item. So if you buy this as your pledge level and you want 2 extra Paladins so you can use all 3 heads in different ways, you can add 2 additional Paladins as add-on items in the Kickstarter for $60 each.
That's not bad. That's great. And I like the addition of the mini too. You know,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
You know, because this level here was meant to be like, hey, this is your entry point. Like for $100, under $100, you're going to get all the gameplay materials you need to get started and this really desirable figure. So by lifting that limit, this is still a great entry point, but we said, like, okay, now that there's no, there's not the exclusivity of the only way to get this figure, what else are we going to do with this? And the idea, we already have the Paladin mini painted like the red kind of Paladin, which is one of the base player figures. So we just said, well, hey, let's make that little mini in the black and gold color, because the minis and the figures, they go hand in hand in gameplay. It's all of this is optional, but if you're using a mini on your 1-inch grid map, we have a mechanic that we call the Mythic Encounter, which basically what happens is when you get to that boss level battle, you swap your 1-inch grid map for a 4-inch grid map, and you can use your action figures on that grid. So,
that's cool.
Well, because a mini is always pre-posed, right?
Right.
Well, with the figures, like you can, if you're casting a spell, pose your figure that way. If you're going to land a blow, pose your figure. So what we play tested this at Legions Con, and at first what seemed almost like something of a gimmicky type game mechanic of, you can play with your figures. The players loved it because they got to pose the figures, and during gameplay, when it wasn't their turn, you know what they did? They played with their figure. They held that figure in front of them, and they posed it and played with it. So all of that goes to say that, like, yeah, man, we love the community. We want to give them cool toys. That is quite literally our job. In this particular case, you know what? Whenever you do something that's an in-stock item, you have to guess. You have to say, we think this is how many we are going to need based on similar numbers that we've sold for other figures. And you always want to be kind of cautious. You don't want to overproduce things. We're a small company. Yeah. Overproducing is a way that we hurt ourselves. Right. So we made a number. Yeah. In this case, we were wrong. We didn't make enough. We're happy to make more.
Yeah. I think once the game really starts taking off, and especially at Legions Con, Machu, you should offer a service where for a platinum coin, you'll come around and pose the figure, and that'll increase the hit points of the pose. So I think we should do that. But you touched on the fact that you're a small company, and I was gonna just call out how much love you're getting out here, and also add to the fact that you guys, you're not afraid to pivot, right, or to make adjustments as you're going, but also you do listen to the fans. And you'll see just in here the couple quick comments as soon as you started talking about that. Super appreciate and lifting the limits of the Paladin. We have a fair chance of getting it for Fortress Manitus. Calling out Collector 425. We're saying Prat, what's up, Mitches? We'll see them tomorrow on our Wednesday show with Between the Two Sentinels and the Grown Ass Man Toys. But also Wholesome Warlock saying making the Paladin more made to order is so wholesome. We also got Chewy in the chat. What's going on there? And Fortress Madam is saying Four Horsemen continuing to take care of the fans. And you've totally made Jevon's day here by lifting it just in front. So it's really cool to see that, and really cool to see just how well you guys do that. You take care of the fans, and you're really building that community. You know what I mean? Like just kind of helping enforce that. Again, it's what other companies should be doing or could be learning from, and making that movement there. So
again, we're toy fans, we're toy collectors, we get it. This is supposed to be fun, not stressful. We can't honor every request. We get requests that sometimes just don't make sense for the company. We see comments that people make where they say, oh, they should be doing this. And it's like, you guys have 5% of the information. If you had that other 95, you'd probably know why that's not realistic. No. But we listen. Listening, it doesn't cost us anything to listen.
Sure.
And to say, what, is there validity to what they're asking for? And if there is, and there's a way that we can, you just use the word pivot. If there's a way that we can pivot and do something that's going to be for the benefit of our fan community, yeah, we're absolutely willing to do that. That's one of our superpowers, is the fact that we're still small, nimble, and we're led by toy fans who genuinely just want to make cool stuff. Like, this is a business. There is a business reality to what we're doing, but we all want to put joy into the world. We want to have fun. We love the fans. So whenever we can do something that does all of those things, you better believe we're going to do it.
Sorry, I just got a text message that totally threw me off there, but I love hearing that, and I love hearing that you're going to continue to do it. But I also love that you're calling out the idea that it's 5%, right? At the end of the day, you are still a company, and you have to make things happen. All right, I'm going to jump ahead here in just kind of in what you guys showed a little bit. Again, seeing all these detailed painted minis, they look awesome.
Yep.
And it's really cool too to just kind of seeing how much the price point's not outrageous, but also the idea too that you're offering the grayscale to let people paint their own. I mean, we know that there's so many talented people out in the community themselves, and giving them a chance to kind of customize their own. But then you've got these figures, and these man, they are so great, and really excited for these to be coming out. And so now this is the full party. Coming in at the 400 price point, but that now is in addition to getting the set, or this is like an add-on.
You can either use this as your initial pledge level, or you can add this on. There's
nice.
There's multiple combo sets. So there's one that's like just what we call the core 6. So it's those 6 figures that you see on that top level. This particular one, because this also comes with the character packs, so you actually get 2 of each of those first 4 figures, because the 4 figures you see on the second row, those are basically just the top figures with the add-on packs, the character pack parts swapped onto them. So this will get you 10 total figures, the 4 character packs, and the 3 add-on packs.
Cool.
Again, you can do this either as a pledge level item. There's also another tier that for $20 more you get all of this plus the beginner box, because again, this is about a game. We want to encourage people to buy the game. So for $20 you get that $45 beginner box added on, and then of course there's the full giant, I want literally everything, all the game items, the coins, the core rule book, the minis, everything. But yeah, this for $4.19, you get everything we just looked at plus that beginner.
Yeah, and then this is that mega offering here.
So this is the mega offering where you
yeah.
get everything, and then there's one that you're not going to see in. You're not going to see in this this stream here because we changed it. But basically, it's this plus that San Diego Paladin Cleric and the exclusive mini, and it's $680. So the Paladin is $60, right?
Yeah.
We're basically just adding $60 onto it, throwing in a free exclusive mini. If you were like, I want everything, $680 will get you all of the gameplay materials, all of the figures. It's either a pledge level item or an add-on. So again, we're trying to make it as easy for people to get what they want and back this campaign at a level that works for them.
Right. And that's great too, right? You're offering different levels for different people. And like you're saying, what's interesting too, and what I love about this is if you don't want, the game, the tabletop game there, you can just get the figures. There is a tier straight for the figures. So again, giving the offering to everybody, but also kind of giving a bit of an incentive to get people interested in the game. And we know for sure, right? I'm sure you guys are already planning Legions Con this year. I'm sure that there's going to be, a game night or, a game class and things like that. So just getting into the game now is going to give you the opportunity to for you, right? To just get further into the community with everybody.
And I'll also add that, this is just wave one. We're not.
It was going to be my next question.
We're not doing this saying hey, this is a one and done thing. We're putting it out there. That core rule book, that beginner box, there's a bit of an evergreen aspect to this. That core rule book is going to be the core rule book for probably a number of years. But we've already got additional adventures and additional gameplay items planned. We already have 2 additional waves of action figures that are totally planned out specifically for Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. So whether you're just buying these figures to add to your Mythic Legions collection, dude, that totally works as well. But if you want to try out the game and you want to start playing, this is not something that's going to be one and done and we're just going to let it die on the vine. We are breathing life into this. We are supporting this product line, hopefully well into the foreseeable future so people can adventure in the realm of Mythos.
So I know that Webb had made this comment when we first started, but I feel like it applies more now, especially that you said you've got three more lines or 3 more waves in the works. Should we just hand Jeremy your wallet or should we wait? Is there
that works for you?
Yeah. Is there an option where I could just portion out my paycheck? There's a comment here from Thralling for Glory that says, I'm really hoping Wave 2 brings more anthropomorphic races like Snake Man and Dragonborn. Any hints that you can offer or anything you want to give away?
Well, Dragonborn that's proprietary to Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
Ironically, we just did a Dragonborn action figure through our, partnership with Joe Manganello and our comic pool. But we have Dragosair. So our Arakagor figure, we do have a dragon race, a dragon man race in our Mythic line. We also have Reptilian. We have the Quaddle figures. So yes, those are all things that could be added over time. Again, we kind of had to start somewhere. Sure. And Mythic Legions with 11 plus years of lore there's so many things that we've created, including a lot of things that are unique to us. We've created races and monsters and everything. So we're trying to put some of that stuff in. The fact that you can play this game as a skeleton, that is not typical. Typically, you can't play as a skeleton. We have the Jagualian. That's a unique thing we created. So we tried to find the balance between what people would expect, like dwarves and elves, and of course humans, with a couple other things. But as we go forward, when I said, we have ideas for expansions and everything, adding new role-playing games typically call them races. We call them species. They typically call them classes like cleric and fighter and so forth. We call them professions. We have a whole bunch that are not in the game to start, but are represented in the toy line. Absolutely, the goal is to bring them together. So all of that stuff is playable in the game.
All of that. And the figure you did with Joe Manganiello, that thing is epic too. So
that was a lot of fun. That
one looks great. How did that, just real quick, I don't want to take away from everything else. Was that something you guys reached out to him? He reached out to you? Is he already a fan? Will he be doing signings at Legions Con this year? How was that,
So he reached out to us. Joe's been buying our toys for quite a few years, actually. And we actually shot a documentary with Joe, and it covers a little bit of this in it. But yeah, Joe's been a fan of our stuff. He's obviously a huge fan of, fantasy in general. So he's been buying Mythic Legions for a number of years, and Cosmic Legions, actually. And he reached out to us just to say, like, hey, I really love your guys' products. I have some characters of my own that I own. I wonder if you'd ever be interested in like a collaboration. So we started talking about it, and Joe being the Hollywood busy person that he is, he's got so many different projects. It didn't line up for a little bit, but once it lined up, it's almost like it took a long time to get to that first stage. But once we got to that first stage, it moved very, very quickly. Right. So yeah, as soon as we started talking to him, Eric and I did a kickoff call with him, just like as an introduction. And the minute we hung up the phone, we were like, yeah, man, this dude, he's one of us. He like really, really gets it. So passionate about his characters. And we really hit it off very well with him. So it was an absolute joy to work with him. And dude, his characters are so cool. Like the characters he presented us, every one of them just looked really, really cool. Joe's a very similar age to like Eric and myself. So we all grew up with a lot of similar things that we were interested in, a lot of the same kind of movies and cartoons and everything we watch. So the stuff that he thinks is cool is very much in line with the stuff we think is cool.
Yeah, that's great. And so does that tie back to the documentary that you guys have coming out? Or that you guys have been working on, or is that a separate documentary?
So we've done two. So the Joe Manganiello Archon the Cruel project, that was released under our Infinite Legions banner, which Infinite Legions is basically our way of partnering with other artists and creators to bring their characters into toy form as Legions compatible figures. So this is not just like, yeah, we're going to make toys of your characters.
Sure.
Like, these are built on the Legions library of parts. So every time we do one of these Infinite Legions launches, we drop a short, like 30-ish minute documentary in front of that pre-order. Mm-hmm. So there is one that's already on our YouTube channel about this project with Joe Manganiello and Archon the Cruel.
Got it. Okay. And so that is then, but earlier this year, I feel like you guys, or maybe towards the end of last year, you guys announced a straight up either Four Horsemen or Mythic Legions documentary that is going to be coming out, or did I totally misinterpret that?
So the only document we do have an in-house filmmaker now, a videographer, Eric's brother, Brad Treadaway. We dropped right before Legions Con last year. We dropped like a 1-hour documentary called This is Legions Con. Mm-hmm. So we're doing more stuff like that.
Okay.
But as of right, and we've got other documentary content that we're putting together, but there's no, like, beyond that stuff that's very purposeful, there's nothing that we have planned to do just like a general Four Horsemen.
Okay. Got it. I wasn't sure if there was something more in the future. And then I feel like I read this somewhere, and if I'm totally wrong, feel free to call me out.
Sure.
But being a part of kind of that film and television society kind of thing, or tying back to that, you guys did you guys do a sculpt for Succession? Was that right? That there was something in Karen Culkin's office that was very Four Horsemen like?
Yeah, but it's actually funnier than that.
Oh, see, I pay attention.
Oleg Thygar from our Cosmic Legions line was on Succession. We didn't sculpt it for them. They came to us and they said, hey, we need to dress the set here. Can we borrow a bunch of your stuff? So we're just moving into a new studio space now. We have our own building, but for years we've shared space with a company called BB Props in Little Falls, New Jersey. They are a company that makes props for film and television and Broadway and all this type of stuff. So members of our team, we've actually done prop work for a number of shows like Succession and Severance and lots of different stuff and Saturday Night Live. So they contacted the people from that show. They contacted BB Props and they said, they knew that they worked with a toy because they had been in the studio. They said, can we borrow a bunch of the stuff? This was a few years ago, right before Legions Con, where we were going to bring all these figures to Legions Con to show them off. So they actually, the Succession crew picked everything up, shot them, had to return them so we could bring them to Legions Con, and then they picked them up again to finish their filming. So it worked right around Legions Con. Now, there are some Cosmic Legions figures on the shelves because I guess in Succession, they're making like a sci-fi movie, and these were supposed to represent the characters. The thing that you can really see is a bust of Oleg Thygard. That's the most visible thing. So and we still have that's in the studio. That's kind of how that whole situation happened.
That's how that works. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Just cool to just kind of see again how much we are integrated now into pop culture. Yep. Did Kieran Culkin sign it? And you just wiped it off. You were like, "What are you doing? Don't mess with our stuff."
There's actually a Saturday Night Live skit as well where someone's talking about being a toy collector, and if you look at the display case behind him, it's filled with Legions figures.
Oh wow! Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna have to look that one up now. So I just want to jump in. There's a question here from Fortress Minimus asking if the the game will be fully compatible with D&D version 5 if we already have expansion books and maps.
It is. So it is compatible with Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. There are a number of different elements about Mythic Legions, the role-playing game, but because it was built on that foundation, there's definitely a lot of crossover there. If you know how to play 5e, you absolutely will know how to play this game. There will be crossover stuff. We've got, one of the things that's different about our game, for instance, is since the earliest days of the line, we've had the factions, right? The Army of Laodiceus, the Lithia's Brood, and so forth. They're such an important part of our lore that in Dungeons and Dragons, there's really no mechanic for factions. The way that I always say is when you play role-playing games, you have your own character and you want to level up your character and find cool stuff. You also have the adventure party that you're with, and you want the adventure party to get stronger and better. Right. But in Mythic Legions, the role-playing game, you also have a faction. You have a kingdom that you are a part of. So we have a mechanic where when you make decisions that benefit your kingdom, or on the inverse of that, hurt your kingdom's greatest enemies, it opens up new abilities for your character. So
got it.
And it depends which faction you're from, what those abilities and extra powers actually are. So that's a mechanic that isn't in Dungeons & Dragons 5e, so it won't be directly compatible. But anyone that's a game master that knows how to do this stuff, they'll be able to mix and match those things.
I love that. I love the integration. That's great. And it just, again, like you said, it started out in your head that made sense, and now you're just fully bringing it forward. All right, so you've thrown out a lot of names. And I am someone who has famously gotten names pronounced horribly wrong. Okay. How do you guys come up with the names? Where is do you sit around? Do you just throw names in a thing and pull them out and put both together? Where does that element come from?
It depends on the character, but to answer it, for the most part, we look at what the core character elements of the character are. And then we look at other translations of that word or other characters from mythology or stories that have similar attributes that we can connect this character to. So really both Eric and I are very much students of kind of mythology and literature and all that stuff. So we like to look for inspiration in those type of things. But a lot of times it's even just saying like, hey, this character has a very Norse type feel to it. You know, what is the word for skull in Norse, in Old Norse? And that name, that comes up to like something like Scully. So then we add an extra consonant to it, and that's how we get Scully. And then we say, well, we got to give him a badass second name, Bone Splitter. Scully Bone Splitter. Scully is basically just skull in Old Norse. So a lot of time it's kind of looking at like the breakdown of words in other languages, other ways to say things that have a specific design attribute or character attribute for that character, and then using that as our springboard to come up with the name.
Nice. I love that. That's great. I think that actually makes a lot more sense than what Wholesome Warlock is saying, and that all names are chosen with a Ouija board, and then they add an extra.
Well, the second part is correct. We always, that's an ongoing joke that whenever we put a name up there, Eric's always like, what about if we just add an extra T on the end? And we're always like, perfect. That's the answer.
I had to pronounce Ukjak for a video that I was doing, and there's a back and forth through audio chat of me and Trevor just literally like trying to pronounce it, and he's like, no, it's Ukjak, and I'm like, I don't hear the difference. What am I saying wrong?
Well, and that one, okay, so again,
love it.
That one was named after Greg, Big Greg, who works with us, you know, and that was a case where the working title of that character was the Walking Cathedral. So Eric designed that character to have very gothic cathedral-like design elements. So the entire time we were working on him, he was the Walking Cathedral. And then we started looking up a lot of different words for aspects of a cathedral, and nothing felt right. Everything that we were doing that was twisting around architectural names for that character, it just didn't have the right name. And then something happened, and we just kind of looked at Greg, and I said, hey, because it's supposed to be an ogre. And I said, a lot of our ogres have names like, you know, or orcs and ogres, Urzak and Unkin and Urku. So I said, let's name this character Uchak, you know, and name it after Greg. And we didn't tell him, of course. We waited until G-Con when we could reveal that on camera. But yeah, that's just another, sometimes there's like a tribute style aspect where, you know, someone in the community or someone that is part of the studio, we want to give them a fun little nod on a character, and that's where the name comes from.
I love that. And if for anybody watching who doesn't know Greg, when Jeremy says you looked at Greg like this. Greg is the only one who makes me feel like a backpack, and I love it. So we get too much new toys in the chat saying Big Greg is a good name. We also got Nostalgia Unboxes here. What's going on, man? Howdy. He says howdy, boys. And Dave Orkin is here as well. So again, appreciate everybody jumping in. I know this is a midday stream, and I love this. And you know, Jeremy, we've pulled you away from meetings and things that you actually have to do. So we're gonna get a few more questions, and I think we'll call it a day. Sure. I would be remiss if we didn't ask about, you know, the dragon. I mean, we're dying to get this thing. Not that we have room for it, but you know, how are things going with the process and the dragon?
I wish I had a really good update for you. I don't have much of an update. So Chris just got back from China. Okay. He went to China right before Chinese New Year to look at progress on the dragon. Things are moving along. There's just a lot of different parts. It's crazy that, you know, when we do a normal action figure, it's like we've got to make sure certain things fit a certain way, but just something like this, the amount of articulation points in the tail alone is more than in most action figures. So even just something about that, like how do we connect? At what point does it become bendy? What is the gauge of the wire that's going to be in it? This is all stuff that we're dealing with at the factory level, making sure that all of the sculptural details that we put into it are fully maintained. Like, there's a lot of stuff with Beathir that have never been done before. The factory is producing pieces at a level that they just typically don't have to produce, those gigantic wings and stuff. So it's moving along.
Okay.
The progress is, I want to say, where we want it to be. We'd always wish it was better. I wish I could come on and say that we're wrapping up production and it's about to ship. But at this point, we unfortunately do not have a date for when it looks like production's going to happen. It's still in the pre-production process as we iron out all those things. Because the worst thing that would happen is, obviously, we rush this and then the wings don't stay the way they're supposed to, or the feet don't support it. So making sure that the final product we deliver is what we promised is what is most important. But fingers are still crossed that it will be shipping some point this year.
Okay. Hey, look, I think, I'm going to speak for myself, but I would prefer it to come a little bit, come in the route it's going, as opposed to being early and having problems. So
right.
Exactly.
I'm thankful for that. So, okay. And then, last thing I want to ask about, because we have you, Legions Con this year, anything new, anything big, we're making any changes? We're still, anything at all that we can start to tease out. Because again, Macho and I, we travel to a lot of different cons, but we love calling Legions Con is definitely our favorite that we go to. As you know, in my pain in the ass emails that I wrote to you, we do a live from Legions Con every year. It's one of our favorite lives. We get everybody in the room. If we want to make that more official, we can talk offline. But yeah, it's definitely our favorite of the year, and we want to make sure that if there's something new and exciting, we should be prepared for.
Yeah, so nothing to announce yet. So Legions Con, the month of March is crazy for Four Horsemen Studios and me personally. So just the amount of travel that we do in the month of March. Now we've got this Kickstarter to support through August 4th. So really, we're going to probably start hitting the gas on Legions Con come like April. Okay. So come April and May, we'll start seeing the reveals of this year's exclusives. I'm super excited for this year's exclusives. I think we've got something that's going to be a big surprise for a lot of people. We'll start announcing that stuff. We've got a new Armory experience planned for this year. The Armory experience is something that it is so much work logistically to pull that thing off, but it has become such a hit of the show that we've almost, we kind of created a monster in the Armory experience.
Unintended, yeah.
We now have to do it. Yeah. There's a couple other things that we're working on to bring some exciting new elements to the show. I don't know if it's going to happen yet, so it's a bit premature to figure out if we're going to do that. But I can tell you that everything you love about Legions Con, that's all in place. I mean, last year we announced that we signed a 3-year contract with that hotel. That was specifically because we knew how important it was to have a home. We wanted the fans and the attendees to know that we were committed to this show long term. We've got a home long term. So yeah, I mean, the dates are already out there. We're excited for it. Hotel rooms and tickets and all that stuff, that'll probably open up in April. And then it'll just be kind of a march towards the reveals and announcements and the surprises leading up to Legions Con 2026.
All right. Well, Johnny has already spoiled the special Legions Con 2026 2-pack will be between 2 Golem Sentinels. I love that. There you go. Thank you, Johnny. We'll put it out in the universe. Maybe it comes true. Yeah. All right. I would be remiss if we didn't share. Here is the Kickstarter page for the Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. If you are not already subscribed, go and hit that little notification button this way. Tomorrow when it goes live, you're the first to jump in there. Remember, only 750 available. Oh, no. Sorry. We canceled that. We canceled that. That's gone. That's gone. Just go get it and make sure you back it, because I'm sure you guys are going to do an amazing job of all the tiers and the unlocks and all that kind of thing coming soon. But Jeremy, man, thank you so much. This has been awesome. I appreciate you taking time during the day. And, anything else we should tell the people, or if they should know where to keep up with you?
No, I mean, these days I'm not posting as much on my own personal like
Mhm.
Instagram because I'm so busy with all the studio stuff. But yeah, I mean, follow the Four Horsemen, official channels on like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. That's really where you're going to get your news. Well, we're just hoping, kind of holding our breath. We know that this campaign is going to be successful, but how successful? Like, how are we going to break into this new audience and this new community? So everyone that lends their level of support, whether they're in for a minimum amount or whether they're an all-in plus backer, we thank them for their support, and we cannot wait to get these toys and this game in your hands.
I think Nostalgia Unboxed here is pitching a podcast on our own podcast. He's saying time to start a podcast for the RPG. So there you go. You can just see the excitement already for it. So, but dude, Jeremy, thank you, man. And if you guys are watching now or you're watching on the replay, we appreciate the hell out of you. We wouldn't be doing this without you. So talking to awesome people like Jeremy, and we'll see you at Legions Con, but we'll see you before that. Are you gonna be at ZoloCon this weekend?
So I am not. I was supposed to drive to Zolo this weekend, but between the 3 feet of snow and just everything else that I've got going on professionally in the next couple of weeks, I've decided to skip this particular show. So well, I will miss that show. I absolutely love ZoloCon. I will miss going. But of course, Four Horsemen Studios will be there. Our traveling exclusive, the Legendary Warrior, that will be there. So if you're in the area, come by the table and say hello.
And we'll be there on Saturday, so come find us and just say hi. But all right, Jeremy, thanks again. Matsu, let's go home. Let's get out of here, man. Make some content. Go be proud of yourselves, guys. Thank you.
See ya.